Good morning, everybody. All right, I just hit the record button. So let's start again. Good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, November the 6th, and it is 9:08. I was supposed to get started at 9 o'clock, and I got cold feet. So I knew I was supposed to do this at 9, and at 9, I got cold feet and was like, no, I'll do it. I'll wait the next week. And then I was like, nope, I got to do it. I got to jump out there and do it now. So better than late than never. So this is Thursday at 9 is going to be maritalpreneurs. I don't know how long these are going to be yet, but this is for my maritalpreneurs. So maritalpreneurs is the word marital and entrepreneur together. So I've taken that word and put it together. And I really want to focus on couples. I really like that you guys would be married, but I'm not married myself, so I'm not going to hold to that. But couples who are married who have some type of entrepreneurial component, say that word three times fast, to their relationship. And so today, what I want to really talk about is goal setting in the new year and for the new year and goal setting period. So I'm a member of Toastmasters. Shout out Toastmasters, Legacy Toastmasters in South Cobb. Over here, we meet at the Word of Faith Cathedral every first and third Mondays. So shout out to my Toastmasters group. On Monday, I did a talk there that I think, hold on, I'm trying to find you guys on LinkedIn. So I'm follow on LinkedIn. So if anybody has any comments for me, please put it into LinkedIn. And I'm going there now, and I should be in a minute able to see any comments. So I'm opening up the comment section, and so muting my phone. And so if you want to put a comment and make a comment to me, do it on LinkedIn. So all right. I gave a fabulous speech on Monday, and I want to re give you guys that speech today. And I really want to talk about entrepreneurial couples really sitting down at the end of the year and writing out their goals. But more than that, I want you to write out your vision. So many couples maybe talk about vision, but they never write it down. And there's a Bible scripture, it's Habakkuk 2:2, I believe. And it says literally, write the vision, make it plain, so that they may run and not faint. To me, that's saying, and many people interpret the Bible in many different ways, that when you write a clear vision, when you make it very plain, then people who need to follow that vision, they can do it without getting weak and without getting weary. And so many times I personally have gotten weary in well doing. I've lost the vision. And so it is so important for entrepreneurial couples to sit down and write the vision. So I'm going to break that down for you guys today. What I would like a couple to do is to say, hey, I'm thinking the end of our lifespan is going to be right around 100, depending on age difference. So for me and my partner, we're 3 years difference. I want him to make it to 100. So that means I got to make it to 103. So, but that's the plan. All right. And so, what I want a couple to do is say, all right, what do we want each decade of our life to be about? Even more than that, what do we want our legacy to be? What legacy do we want to leave? And how do we define legacy? What legacy would we leave as a family? And so think about what's the legacy of the Hiltons or the Marriotts or the Waltons or the Kennedys, the Rockefellers, like what legacy, the Gates family with the Gates Foundation, what legacy do you want your family to leave? What do you want behind? What do you want to leave behind? What do you want them to be known? What do you want to be known for? And those are just like those are big names that everybody knows, but there's also small names. I watched a news story the other day of a man who had silently one pharmacy in one small town been paying people's medication. When he had extra money, he would take it to pharmacy and he would put it on just anybody's bill who needed it. And when they came in, their medication would be paid for. And the pharmacy took it on And now the man has passed away, but people heard the story and they are sending money to this pharmacy to pay for people's medication from across the nation. How fabulous is that? One man and the legacy of people's medication being paid for. What an awesome story. So, what do you want the story of your family to be? What? So, I want you guys thinking about that. And then I want y'all to sit down and write that down. Our legacy will be a sentence, a statement, a word. Our legacy will be generosity. Wonderful. How are we going to define generosity? All right. So let's say, for the purposes of this story, you're going to find generosity is being able to set up an endowment where, uh, let me see. I'm going to choose one from my dream list of endowments to set up. One of the things that my partner and I we would love to set up an endowment one day to pay for the parking at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. We both do not think that when you are in crisis with your child, you should have to worry about paying for parking. And so we would love to set up that endowment. And so let's say you want your legacy to be one of generosity, and the way you want that legacy to be expressed is to pay for parking at a kid's hospital. Not a big thing, not a major thing. Hopefully, it doesn't even hit the news. And so that's something that you could say, this is what I want our legacy to be. Okay, so that's what you guys are leaving behind, a legacy of generosity. Now, what are all of the things and what years do you have to do that? And so then you're going to work backwards. And I also want you looking like, what do we want our 90s to be about? When we're 90s, what do we want that to be about? I love President Carter, God bless his soul. But I don't know if you guys remember, but he got cancer like, I'm going to say probably about 6, 7 years ago. And he thought the cancer would take him out. And so it did not. It did not. He has passed away now, but it did not. And what happened was he was like, well, I'm still here. I guess I'll write another book. And so I just want you guys to think purposely about, what do you want to do in your 90s? Do you want to write another book? Is that going to be the book writing phase of your life? Do you want your 80s to be the book writing phase of your life? Do you want 80s to be about exercise or travel? Do you want to see all of the waterfalls in your 80s? And so I want you thinking and working backwards. What do I want my 90s to be about? What do I want my 80s to be about? What do I want my 70s to be about? What do I want my 60s to be about? What do I want my 50s to be about? What do I want my 40s to be about, if they haven't passed you by already? And then really thinking about that. Okay. I want you to put the things on this list. This is, if I could have it all my way. If money was not an object, this is where you get to really like sit down and dream. And so there's a building in England I would love to see. It's shaped like an egg. I'd love to go see that. This is where you put that down. This is where you write what your goals and vision is for the future. And you put all of that down and you put it all on paper, and you as a couple really look at it. Okay. Then I want you to figure out, okay, what decade are we in and what do we need to focus on now so that all these things happen? And then you can come up with where your 10-year goals are, your 5-year goals, 3, 2, and 1. And I think you will see the power in that when you start to figure out, okay, so if we got to come up with this money for this endowment in our 90s, and we also want to see every waterfall in the world in our 90s, this is how much money we need in our 90s, which means our living expenses need to be this through our 60s and 70s and 80s so that we can do this. And so when you start to think, so that's a key point I want you guys to write down. Okay, the key point is long-term goals and vision help you make better short-term decisions. Long-term goals and vision will help you make better short-term decisions. Okay? All right. So that's so powerful. So I'm really asking you to sit down and write it down. And now we're going to bring it forward to you writing down what you guys need to accomplish next year. Now, I'm a big fan of the book, The 12-Hour Work Week. Sorry, I thought it was on my bookshelf. It's not right here. But I'm pretty sure it's called the 12-Hour Work Week, which really says that you should take your goals for the year and then break it down into quarterly. So what it's saying is the things that that you say I'm going to get accomplished this year, you could probably get accomplished with one quarter, in 12 weeks. All right, so now I want you guys to and I want you guys to do this as a couple. So, what does that look like? That looks like, I would like, and there's a cute little social media video of a couple that they go into a space where they have whiteboards and they put everything on the whiteboard and they write it down and everything. And so that's what I'd like it to look like. So you can do a whiteboard in your home. You can go around the Atlanta area. There's Atlanta Bread Company, and they have little spaces that you can rent for the day. You can go do a hotel boardroom for the day. You can go to any workspace. Usually they'll rent it to you for the day. I know a lot of companies that do the daily workspace when they need to have company meetings and everything. So sit down together. You guys will need probably a full 8 hours and access to food and coffee and or tea to do this. But I would love for you guys to spend a day just talking about visions and goals and writing it down and then really thinking about what do we want to do in 2026. So 10 goals, 10-year, 5, 3, 2, 1. Now, what I have found when working with people with their goals is relief. And in myself as well. And so when I write down everything that I want to do and then I write it out on paper, I get this relief that comes over me because in my head, everything needs to be done right now, yesterday. When I write it down and plan it out, then I can say, huh, okay, I don't have to worry about this year because that's on the 2027 goals list. So one of the things I want to do is go back and get my doctorate. And so I was figuring when I was going to do that. And so we have some things in place. Right now, I'm calling it Operation Best Life. And so for me, Operation Best Life is composed of a couple of different steps. So I need to get my expenses down a little bit. Then once I get my expenses down, then I need to get my work schedule down to 2 to 3 days a week. And then once I'm at 2 to 3 days a week, then I can apply for my doctorate because I'll need 2 to 3 days a week to focus on doing my doctorate so that it does not impact my family life and my family time. All right. And so I'm calling that Operation Best Life. So you guys will hear me talk about Operation Best Life. And so what I noticed is when I review that list, I'm on target. And so I know exactly when I'm doing it. So it doesn't feel like everything's right now due yesterday. It feels like, oh, this is a step that we're working on now and we're getting it done. Okay. So it's on my goals list. It's on the goals list, and it's plotted out in time periods. So I have benchmarks that I'm meeting, and there's some things that you need to have a date on. There's some things that you need to have a benchmark on. Okay. And so as you look at your goals and you can figure out, okay, this needs a date, this needs a benchmark, this needs a date, this needs a benchmark. So for example, um, I need to get my expenses down to a certain level. Once I get them down, then I can cut out 1 day of work per week. And so those are kind of benchmarks. I, I think it's probably most powerful when we have a benchmark and a date together. All right. So, all right. So couples need to have some type of joint vision. They need to really sit down and write it out, like literally have it. And let me say this, and I gotta find a statistic for you guys. But this is what we know about companies and strategic planning. If a company simply once a year, at the end of the year, plan everything out for the next year, even if they never read that plan, they will be more profitable than any other company because there is power to thinking things through and thinking things out. And so they can make a plan and put that plan in a drawer and not look at it. But because they've thought through some things and because they've talked out some things, because they've said some things out loud, now it's in the atmosphere, it's planting seeds in the brain. And so as we move throughout the year, we're moving by those guiding principles. All right. So I really want I want you to harness that power and bring it down into your life, into your business. All right, so that's the way you do it. You write your vision down. You look at the whole vision for the whole rest of your life. You look at the finances, the income, the business, the kids, the all the things that we're going to need, putting things into place. We think about elder care and what do we need to do that. We think about our kids when they're going to college, what do we need to do that? When will we have the freedom to do this? When will we have the freedom to do that? And really kind of planning it out, you know? All right. So now let's talk about how to put super on top of this very natural thing. And I don't think I said this, but when you write your goals down, you are 42% more likely to accomplish those goals, to get them executed and accomplished. Again, there's power to writing things down. Just simple as that. So I want you to write your goals down. And then I want you for 2026, break those goals down into quarters. And then each quarter, I want you relooking at the goals so you can break down what needs to be done over the 12 weeks. With that 13th week kind of be a catch up week or a get ready for the next quarter week. And again, I'm taking this from the book, 12-week work year. And I'm going to hopefully, at some point, I'll look that up for you guys and get the author of it. 12-week work year, very powerful book. A lot of checklists in it and to help you along the way. Okay. And my friend Keisha gave it to me. Hey, Keisha, girl, thank you for the book. See, I'm using it quite often, really. All right. So, all right, this is for um, anybody who has a spiritual component, and specifically for my Christians. And so there is power. It 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 doesn't matter who you are, actually. Neil Donald Walsh has a book talked about the power of essentially, I can't remember what the name of the book was, but he really talked about the power of agreement and community. And so when you, as a marital couple, or even when two best friends come into agreement over what's going to happen in the future, it fuses it together and gives it more power. It does. And so, as a marital couple, I want you guys to stand in agreement on what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, and kind of keep asking, how do we support each other in doing this? Okay, and the power of agreement. And then for my couples, I would like to talk a little bit more about how that looks. So I'd like that to look as simple as you guys coming together weekly and reviewing the plan, the vision, the goal for the week, for the month, for the quarter, sometimes for the year. I would like you guys quarterly reviewing the whole vision so it's staying top of mind and present. And that is a great way for you guys to operate and be in agreement. Okay. All right. For those of you guys who believe in some type of prayer or meditation, I'm going to ask that you daily pray over your vision. That you, and if you are a person of prayer so much, then you figure out a way for you guys to jointly meditate over this vision. And that may be creating a visualization that y'all listen to, maybe y'all record, and then you both listen to. And it could be 5 minutes. Like we wake up in the morning and we hold hands and we listen to our vision for where we're going to be in our 90s and our 80s and our 70s and our 60s. For some of you guys, it may be we wake up and we hold hands and we literally pray over our vision, like, Lord, help us execute this vision. Lord, show us what we need to accomplish. Lord, be our third partner in this vision and bringing it to pass. Um, Another way couples do it is to take classes around the vision to stay in alignment. And so maybe you take a class on how do we set up an endowment. That'd be a nice class for me. If anybody knows about classes around endowments, if you would please send it to me, that would be great just to get some basic information. So it comes from dream world, now it's in gold world, to reality when you start doing things toward the vision. And then I'm going to ask you to start doing something toward the vision, whatever that may be. And so it may be if we want let's see, a property in Tulum, for us every Sunday afternoon to start looking at properties in Tulum on Zillow. And so really starting to live in those actions together. Now, as a marital couple, when you start doing these things, you will notice that you'll start to feel closer to your partner. You will notice that you start to feel aligned with your partner. And so I want you to think of these as wax on, wax off activities. Wax on, wax off. And what I mean by that, they're activities that I don't think you're gonna feel your muscles growing when you're taking 5 minutes to hold hands and listen to your shared vision every day. But your muscles will be growing. You will be developing a stronger bond. You will be ensuring that your marriage lasts and stands the test of time so that you not only have a strong marriage, but you have a strong business and a strong legacy. So those are the things that I want for you. And now it's 9:30, and so that's my end for today. And I'm excited about this. And I'm excited to talk about you on entrepreneurial couples, couples that have some type of entrepreneurial component. And I look forward to being with you guys more and more and more and speaking to you more and more and more. All right. Have a wonderful Thursday.